Welcome to episode 11 of Drew's Basketball Crew here on this New Year's Eve afternoon/evening. Yes, the final episode of 2022 is here, and myself, Drew Skyrigo, will be breaking down that winning lineup on Fantasia Sports for the first episode. I mean, not for the first episode, but for the first games of 2023 in the National Basketball Association. Your first episode of 2023 should be out, tomorrow night is when I plan to record that. So episode 1 of 2023 will be tomorrow. Episode 95 of Drew's Sports Crew will be that one. And Journey to a Million, episode 58, will be coming your way Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I'll tell you that exactly right now. Some exciting stuff there. But let's stay on track here. Only 3 games on that slate, and I did, in fact, choose that one. I'm looking forward, to those games overall. They're all night ones, all at 7 o'clock. It's Sacramento, Memphis, Boston, and Denver, Washington, Milwaukee. That Boston-Denver one's probably your best bet, for like the most competitive game. Highest scoring game is probably going to be Sacramento at Memphis. We know Sacramento's defense is not good, and we also know their offense is very good. So I'd imagine that. Washington, Minnesota, or not, Washington, Milwaukee is the game we kind of care about here as Bucks fans. You'll be watching that one at 7 if you're watching, or if you're watching football, it works out perfectly. Packer game finishes up, and the Bucks game begins there at 7. So that's what the site looks like in terms of games. Let's break down kind of the roster construction, right? What's the game plan here on Sunday, right? I mean, how are we going to win on New Year's Day is the question on Fantasia Sports. And I think the answer is I was thinking about this. I think this might be the day where, and I know Boston's defense is legit, but if you take Jokic and Giannis together, hear me out. It's roughly probably like 12 to 13,000 salary where you're playing, and it's probably a 50,000 salary. So what if you do that and you play some value guys here? What I mean by that is there's a few guys I was looking at, like Kevin Huerter playing shooting guard on the Sacramento Kings was one I was looking at, and then I'll get into some of the value here. Even with the Bucks, Grayson Allen, with injury concerns with Holiday and Middleton, you could capitalize on some value right now, and you can even update this before the games. Beal is questionable with Washington, so again, another one. Like, you're getting like 2 of the best bigs in all of basketball, and the game plan you surround with these solid role players who, you're hoping on. I just think, like, if you hit maybe you probably still need some other starters, of course, but what I'm talking about is, with Milwaukee again, for example, I think Grayson Allen would be a great play at home with Giannis. It could be a nice pair there. And then otherwise, I'm looking at, like, depends how much Dylan Brooks is there. It is, Steven Adams was one just with the value and salary, because they're going to get some good opportunity, right? Desmond Bane's back, so I'm not looking at John Conchar or Tyus Jones, for example, were guys we were looking at earlier in the season. With Boston, I haven't really mentioned about Boston. You could even take you could go Jaylen Brown and Jokic, or Jaylen Brown and Giannis. I just think maybe taking 2 stars tonight, or 2 with 6 games, I think paying up for 2 guys, I think that's what you're going to have to do to be competitive. Honestly, depending on prices for, not really looking at Al Horford, Robert Williams. I don't like that minute split there. Sam Hauser's a guy, who has played some actual valuable minutes, like the most valuable minutes he's played in his whole career this season. Hauser being a guy potentially I'd be maybe fine with. It depends on your salary. If you're cutting it close, again, he's averaging 6 points a game. This isn't necessarily ideal, but if the opportunity opens up, right, if we get some injury stuff, we're looking right now a day ahead. So those are things I want to monitor. But I feel good about taking either Derek White or Malcolm Brogdon for Boston. I think those two, like, when I talk value, when I talk guys, with cheaper salaries, I think Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon are going to be 2 guys who you're going to want in your lineup. tomorrow night. Especially if you make me choose White or Brogdon. Honestly, I think I might be taking Brogdon right now. Brogdon averaging 13, 4, and 4. But the big thing for me is, he's getting some good minutes. And, from an efficiency per 36 basis, he's been very good. 20 and 6 with 40% from 3 as well. So my point being, like, Malcolm Brogdon is going to be a nice guy to have. I'd take him again over Derek White in my lineup. You'll see that when I post it. Let's go to the Kings. I need to touch more on the Sacramento Kings value plays. Honestly, we're looking at the starters, right? With that team, I don't know if I want to go any deeper than the starters. With Herter and Barnes are probably like the two, and Keegan Murray. I can't just name the whole starting five, but you either, when there's only 6 games on the slate, there's a lot of different ways. There's not a lot of different ways to move about this, and I think maybe not going with Sabonis or Fox, and maybe going with Herter, Barnes, or Murray. I think you pick what position you need there. Could be a decent consideration. I'd like to see the defensive matchups too. So I'd probably go Keegan Murray. Honestly, I think this might be a good matchup for him, or even Harrison Barnes. On Denver, we're looking at KCP. We're looking at Jamal Murray's going to be matched up with Marcus Smart. There might be that shooting guard, that 2 spot for Denver could have some valuable matchups. Who knows with Michael Porter Jr.'s status? Because if he's going, man, you want him. That man is going. You want him in your lineup. But again, I mentioned Jokic. I'm not a fan of pairing Gordon and Jokic. I feel like you're capping. You want, when it's such a small slate like this, I wouldn't even mind Jokic gets those assists. I wouldn't mind Jokic and KCP, right? We want Jokic passing out. That's kind of the thought process, or like the intuition behind going with Giannis and Grayson Allen. You'll see Giannis kick it out of the paint a lot, right? He's so unselfish with the basketball, and he's someone, or at least that's kind of the thought. That's a thought when you pair that, and you need to differentiate your lineup in some way in a slate that's small, so small, right? When there's only 6 teams, you got to find some way to differentiate your lineup for the best. So again, you'll see my lineup on Fantasia Sports, on Fantasia Sports, you will see it, and on Instagram. But I want to get through. I want to touch on still Washington, their situation, and Milwaukee a little bit more, and then we'll be wrapping it up. I like to keep these brief, right? I want everyone to enjoy their holiday, have a happy New Year. So Washington, where we go there, and if Bradley Beal is not going, the question is it Corey Kispert or is it Will Barton? I would like to believe it's going to be Will Barton, or not Will Barton. It's going to be probably Corey Kispert. So Kispert and Advia might be some intriguing guys to be picking up. Milwaukee's defense is so tough in the paint. We know that. So Kuzma is probably going to be a no-go for me. Honestly, if Porzingis, though, if Porzingis is out on the 3-point arc, like we've seen centers, of course, have success. And I'd probably be looking more at like Advia or and you pick, I think, between Kuzma and Porzingis. I think those guys, right, having some solid shooters. It depends which one's going to be operating more around the 3-point arc. And I think your answer might actually be Kyle Kuzma. So I will retract what I said, and I'll give you take Kuzma over Porzingis will be my play for that. But then with Milwaukee, I honestly think, Allen's going to be the one who steps up over guys like Javon Carter, who we've seen struggle with inconsistency, or even, Wesley Matthews and Marjon Beauchamp, who have struggled to get in the lineup. Still hard for me to recommend Joe Ingles. I need more consistency to say, Joe Ingles is your guy in a matchup like this where there's some guys questionable. I don't think Middleton's playing, honestly. So Carter probably will be the one who gets inserted in the lineup. So Carter might be your best bet if you're looking between him and Ingles. And then Carter and Connaughton, those two are kind of closer for me. Honestly, I think Connaughton might be a higher floor play, but Carter for higher ceiling, but that doesn't really That'd be my answer to that. So my recommendation on that one. But Grace Down, you most certainly will see in my lineup. And we're right over 10 minutes here. And again, I want to keep this one brief as many are celebrating their new year here, and I'll have the lineup posted at Drew Sports Crew. So if you couldn't check out the episode, it'll be up on there. So that's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg. I will see you all tomorrow, or I could say next year, right? For episode 95 of Drew's Sports Crew. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.